I've been loving 3 random aquatic plants lately, and as a matter of fact, they're inspiring a couple of scapes coming up. Welcome to the Small Scape. Today I am talking about 3 what I call random aquatic plants that I've just been thinking about a lot lately because I do have a couple of little scapes coming up that these plants have actually kind of, I don't know if they've inspired the scape themselves or they're actually kind of like little problem solvers. So I figured I would just share with you 3 different little aquatic plants that I absolutely love. And I'm wondering, have you tried these? Would you try these? Number 1, and this is a particular kind of buse, however you want to say it. And I love it lately because it is in that tank over there, and it is literally bringing me so much joy just looking at the little guys in that tank. It is an equivalent to, I would say, Anubias nana petite. Now, Anubias is my favorite plant, as you may or may not know, but this buse is so cute and it adds so much texture and fun to an aquarium, even if it's a little one. And I have a little scape coming up that it's going to be kind of one of the stars of the show, and that is Wavy Green. It is so much fun, and as a fun fact, you may quite possibly be able to find tissue cultures of this plant at Petco. I've seen them labeling their plants a little bit better as to what particular kinds of buse they are, or Anubias. They're just doing, I think, a little bit better job. But also, if you are looking for any aquatic plants, we are sponsored by Flip Aquatics, and they always have an awesome selection of aquatic plants. Matter of fact, I hope to be getting some relatively soon for some special scapes coming up. But Anubias, or Freudian slip. But Buse Wavy Green is just so much fun. You can use it in, like I said, a tiny tank. You can use it in a larger aquascape, mass planted. If you do happen to have, or lucky to have, a good deal of this, it is a slow grower. It likes low light. So any kind of small little kit tank, even if you are going to have a tiny tank, less than 2.5 gallons, less than 3 gallons, I would call a tiny tank, you can have just a few little plants of this, and it is so much fun. It goes very well with larger leafed Anubias, you know, more bold leafed aquatic plants, and it's so stinking cute. Number 2, I have used this plant before. You've seen it a while ago and you've seen it recently, and the scape is still under construction out of no fault of its own. It is not the plant's fault, it is the scaper, but it will be coming around again featured in another scape, and this is pulpitis. I love pulpitis for those of you who garden and like kind of ferny textures, or if you like terrariums, paludariums. Chances are you probably like ferns, and this plant is so much fun. I couldn't believe how easy it was when I first started using it in my scapes because it just seemed more advanced. It just seemed kind of fancy, and I was afraid to use it for a while. But you attach it just like you would Anubias or a buse. It's very easy, or you can tuck in that little rhizome in between rocks and driftwood, which I actually frequently do. I don't even glue it, and it just kind of stays put. It grows along that rhizome, and it is so much fun. I like to mass plant it, especially I like it with cereus stone. I just like them both together, and I am excited to use it in a like I said, in a little scape coming up. And you can use it in a small tank. PetSmart usually has them in their tube plants. They're called, just so you know, it's also known as African water fern. So if you do see it labeled that, it's the same plant. But I love it for its ferny texture, and it just is, I just really like it kind of creeping, crawling, mass planted over cereus stone. That's just kind of my favorite way to use it. And number 3, I just can't say enough about this plant, Corkscrew Valve. Now, for those of you who have larger tanks, which in the nano world I would consider a larger tank starting at like 20 gallons, which many of you may consider a small tank, that's fine. Even under 20 gallons, I've used it in a 2.5, a 3 gallon bookshelf tank. And depending on how much light you're giving it, how much nutrients it's receiving, it depends how much it's going to grow. But if you don't mind maintaining it, because it will grow via the rhizome underneath your substrate and it'll start popping up everywhere. So there will be some maintenance. It will probably pop up where you don't necessarily want it, like along the front of the tank, but it's easy to just kind of snip underneath there, pull out ones that you don't need and put it somewhere else. But I love Corkscrew Valve. It's like a whimsical plant. Along with the Buse Wavy Green, I consider them both very whimsical little plants. And I use them in smaller tanks, I use them in larger tanks. And I really think you can use it anywhere where you want a backdrop, just a complete green backdrop along the back of the tank. I think there's really nothing like it. I do also like other kinds of vallisnerias, just basics like your jungle valve, Italian valves, but Corkscrew Valve will always be, it'll just have a special part in place in my heart, and I just love it. Now these three are all very different. I would use them all together. They would look absolutely fabulous in different parts of the tank. They're just so much fun, and they were just all in my mind, and I thought that I would share. And remember, stay tuned. I do have a couple scapes coming up. I'm very excited about. They're small little scapes, imagine that, but I am featuring these plants. So see you next time.